I, Robert F. Kennedy Jr.,
I, Robert F. Kennedy Jr.,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support and defend
that I will support and defend
the Constitution of the United
the
States
Constitution of the United States
against all enemies,
against all enemies,
foreign and domestic,
foreign and domestic,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same.
that I take this obligation freely,
I take this obligation freely
without any mental reservation
without any mental reservation
or purpose of evasion,
or purpose of evasion,
and that I will well and faithfully discharge
and that I will well and faithfully discharge
the duties of the office
the duties of the office
on which I am about to enter.
on which I'm about to enter.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations, Mr. Secretary.
Surprise, motherfucker.
Okay, now today also a very special day on the 13th of February. Something is going to happen big in US, and how this is going to affect us.
So remember the last round, right? I talked about some myth to be dispel. So today I'll continue doing the myth buster series. So yeah. So now let me show this one, the
Which one?
myth or fact.
Me for facts. Hey,
Yep.
this is the one.
Everyone can see? Yeah, myth or facts. So I find this this was last year, I think maybe around August or September, when MOH actually put this. It said that COVID vaccination does not causes long-term side effect. It's wrong. Then the fact is there have been no long-term safety concern with COVID vaccination. So today I'm going to talk about the vaccine issue, and as well as we are going to dispel certain myths.
But first of all, you take a look on the right side. There's a whole list of
Side effects.
side effects.
Yeah.
There's 1,291.
Yeah, 1291 can buy 40. 1291. So if anyone want the full article, I can actually you can PM to the PPP website or to Go Ming Sing website, Go Ming Sing Facebook, and then we will send out this
Whole list.
whole list. You can read through this from Pfizer, the manufacturer itself. So it actually listed out the side effect of special concern. There is this article, this side effect list, right, was a few years ago, and it was disclosed because of court ruling. So it is disclosed. But I believe most of you have not seen this before, and our mainstream media hasn't reported on this as well. So among all these side effects, why I'm talking about this is herpes zoster virus is the virus that actually causes shingles. Recent years, I mean this year, last year, there has been a lot of cases. There's an increasing incidence of these shingles happening. In Chinese, we call it 生蛇, 生蛇. Yeah, we call it 生蛇. Sorry, so we call so shingles. So why is it so? So I want to show you why this thing is a myth.
Right? The video, right?
The video.
This virus, if you can't control it,
Can you hear the video?
explodes and you get your shingles. My God, is this so difficult to understand? Is it so difficult? But I will tell you something else. There are so many more.
You can repeat again because it's a short video.
Okay, repeat again.
Repeat again, yeah.
This virus, if you can't control it, explodes and you get your shingles. My God, is this so difficult to understand? Is it so difficult? But I will tell you something else. There are so many more.
Okay, why I snapshot this thing? This video was in 2021. It means Dr. Bhakdi is a scientist for immunology. So he actually made this video. The whole video is about 16 minutes. So I'm not going to show the 16-minute video. But this part, right, he predicted our lymphocyte, which is our immune system, will be compromised. And illness like this herpes that cause the shingles will actually explode. Not only that, he also predicted. So way back in 2021, because of science, he understand the science very well. So he said that he predicted there will be a spike, there will be an explosion of shingles happening. And now it's happening. So that part whereby MOH put the article, the poster, and say that there's no long-term side effect is wrong. They have their science wrong. They gotten their science wrongly. So because the video I show, right, is 2021, you can't make this up. And for the end of the video, he also talked about cancer incidents shooting up, as well as TB, tuberculosis shooting up. We can see. Let's see the rest of this year and next year. We have an explosion in TB and explosion in cancer incidents.
Actually, TB already gone 1-2 rounds already in 2022. I think.
Really?
Yeah.
Which means it's correct. Because I graduate in biotechnology, so
Yeah.
I also study all these medicines as well as human physiology. So I understand that certain virus will not be eliminated. It will always remain dormant in our body. But because of your immune, it become dormant. I mean, all these virus. But once your immune is being compromised or being altered or being compromised because of weak immune of the vaccine, then all these virus will actually come out and wreak havoc in your bodies.
Yeah. So that's why they now allow us to use MediSafe to take a vaccine for shingles.
Mhm.
Where
Recently, just only.
Yeah. See there because our logo.
Okay, block my head, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Let me shift the logo a bit. Okay.
Okay. So next, I want to revisit a press release that we issued last year. So this is the second press release. The first press release actually garnered a lot of interest
Okay.
last year in June. So a lot of people talk about this. And MOH actually rebut our first
Border to rebut.
our first press statement.
Yeah.
So we issue another second press statement. So yes.
Okay, so I'm Aurelius. So got POFMA or not? I want to ask, got POFMA or not?
No,
This statement got POFMA or not?
No.
Don't have,
So
How,
we
so
actually
they,
did our
how they
science.
rebut? How they rebut?
They say we make a egregious but claim, and they say some of the studies that we cited are actually taken off, but later on you put on again, no, and taken off, put on again, and all that.
And then certain
Yeah.
doctors and
Yeah.
professors that we cited, MOH say they are anti-vax in nature. Yeah,
which is quite rubbish.
yeah, because we listed so many different doctors. Yeah, so not just one or two. So you can't just say that they are all anti-vax. And we actually wrote the second press statement, which they don't dare to actually rebut because it's ironclad and quite solid.
But they don't dispute our excess death.
Yeah, they did not dispute the excess death data,
which is 20%, over 20%.
Yeah. So for those who are interested, you can go on to our Facebook and see the press statement, the second one. So today I will zoom in to one of the page, which is over here. And I want to, because a lot of people will say that I take the vax, but nothing happened to me, leh. Okay, leh. So I think what you say is not true, lah. If the vax has issue, then how come I'm healthy? So one of the issue that we listed in Annex 2, right, over here, everyone can see? Yeah, in Annex 2, we have listed 5 additional published research paper. So one of the key thing is the quality issue among different batches. So what they discover is that different batches of the vaccine they research on contain different content, or some are probably different from one another. So that could also one of the reason explain that why some people has no side effect and why some people suffer severe side effect and some people have some mild side effect.
And you know what? Just recently, there's a published report from a high school researchers who use the FDA that means in US, FDA labs, who procure the vaccine from legitimate sources. They found that there are indeed differential quality between different batches of the vials. Right? Some may have DNA contamination as high as 400 times, which is not supposed to be there. Some are 6 times more. No? And that actually came true. It is not conspiracy theories. What we have said is actually correct. It's not something that we make up.
Actually,
Yeah.
we released this statement actually to give MOH a chance to step down on the ladder to do a
Yeah.
U-turn, but they actually just persist with with the narrative that it is safe and effective. So among the quality issue, right, we also have doctors who actually and scientists saying that repeated vaccination will cause immune tolerance to the spike protein. And there's all these other side effects will be your immune system will go haywire. And then they also found that it might contribute to autoimmune disease like your 关节炎 jiao tong all this, right? Immune, all your joint and your cancer growth and myocarditis. All these, right? All these white paper, MOH is silence. And the question I want to ask them is, are you doing any research based on all these paper released internationally? Are you doing any testing on the
Yes.
batch-to-batch variations?
This is Baos.
Yeah. Is there any contamination and what is your findings?
Yes.
I think what we can learn is how can we better manage for the next pandemic. I think that's a key thing we want. Should we be so rash in our decision like the last pandemic?
Yes. Because it is quite scary to know that there's badges that have 400 times more DNA fragments. That actually is quite detrimental to our DNA itself, because
Yes.
this can actually screw up your DNA if we are not careful, if it goes wrong,
Mm.
you know. And why didn't they want to do a test?
Yeah, it's so easy. You just take your different badges and then you just do all the research and actually examine all the different vial. And okay, so now this the subsequent Annex 2, which just now I say, right? I just want to flash through. So in case viewers in front of us, they're saying that, are you sure? Where's your sources? Are you going to get POFMA? So these are the sources and these are the professor and scientists. Are they seeing the press?
Yeah.
All these are the citation and
Yes.
and the article. Okay.
All right. So why? Okay. The reason why we are talking about vaccine today is because today is going to be a very, very special day.
Yeah, so we actually invite the presence of
Yeah.
Robert F. Kennedy to our podcast today.
Yeah.
Well, I got a real quick question for you. Are you a conspiracy theorist?
That is a pejorative, Senator, that's applied to me, mainly to keep me from asking difficult questions of powerful interests. I was told that I was a conspiracy theorist. That label was applied to me because I said that the vaccines, the COVID vaccine, didn't prevent transmission and it wouldn't prevent infection, when the government was telling people, Americans, that it would. I was saying that because I was looking at the monkey studies in May of 2020. I was called a conspiracy. Now everybody admits it. I was called a conspiracy theorist because I said red dye caused cancer. And now FDA has acknowledged that and banned it. I was called a conspiracy theorist because I said fluoride lowered IQ. Last week, JAMA published a meta-review of 87 studies saying that there's a direct inverse correlation between IQ loss.
All right, so I'm going to assume
I could go on for about a week.
You see, conspiracy theories, people like to put labels on us. Yes.
Okay, I just want to say something. Why we are showing RFK's video is because he's about to be confirmed for the health secretary position in the US. Okay, that's the equivalent of our health minister.
Yes.
Yes, and I mean, if you guys have read his stance, he has very strong views on the COVID vaccine in general lah. Okay, and I mean, he's been labeled conspiracy theories and anti-vaccine, which is also, I mean, sometimes label I think also put on PPP and also Goh Meng Seng lah. Got a lot of POFMA over vaccine. So in this podcast, right, I want to ask Goh Meng Seng and Derek, since Derek also talked about vaccine. Are you guys conspiracy theories and are you guys anti-vaccine? Then if not, then why?
We are definitely not the conspiracy theorists. In fact, before the vaccine came out, right, I already says that there are only 3 ways to get out of the pandemic back then, 2020. If you can go to the records, I say there are 3 ways. One is the rapid testing mechanism. That's the testing for the virus, whether you can or not, so that you can be quarantined. Right? The second thing is actually an effective, safe and effective vaccine. Right? Hopefully we can have that. I say that. How can I turn around and say I do not want vaccine? But prerequisite is safe and effective. That is the key words that I use. Right. But unfortunately, when the vaccine came out, I have a lot of doubts because the technology is new and it was never proven to be safe. mRNA have never proven to be safe for any medical products that they used to produce. In fact, Moderna was the one who actually have to pull out, lose a lot of money, right? Pull out one of the vaccine for a very rare cancer because it says that it is toxic because of lipid nanoparticles. If you want the details, I can send it to you. That is my concern. So I say, well, the vaccine, I do not know whether it's safe, it's new, right? We have to wait for a while, see the efficacy. I do not judge. After 2-3 months of data, when we have the breakout, after they have a vaccine, we have an airport breakout, hospital breakout, right? All those who come down the infection were the ones who have taken the vaccine. So we already know by then, well, this vaccine is not effective enough. If it's going to be a vaccine, it must stop transmission and infection. I was saying that if we have the vaccine, we have 75% of vaccination, we will have herd immunity. That is actually the statistical knowledge. Whether you are expert or not, that is the basic statistics. Anyone who studies statistics know that. With 75% immunity, you will, by taking vaccine, you will have a herd immunity. But we are not going to get it because the vaccine is leakage. That means it cannot prevent transmission or infection. So what's next? You cannot keep taking something that is not working right. Then I look at the data from Europe and even for US. There are so many adverse events reported. I was in market research for pharmaceutical company. Every vaccine, every medical products that comes with adverse event, we have to write reports on it. When we do interview with doctors, if they say, oh, this vaccine or medicine have certain report, we have to write report. It's very diligent. But we have thousands and thousands and millions of adverse event reported, and you say nothing to do with vaccine? I don't believe. That is the point that I turned. I say, no, I'm not going to take the vaccine because it's not proven to be safe and effective. Then what's the point? This is science. This is real science. This is not like, believe me, I'm the expert, I'm the science. That is belief, that's faith, that's religion, that's cult. Right?
Okay, so I'll give my inputs. What do you think after reading our press statement? Do you think we are anti-science without science, or we are science-based?
I think, I mean, science is about open debate, right? We cannot just say follow the science as a religion or a cult.
Yes.
So by you putting the press statements, having citations, having different point of views from different doctors and scientists, and requesting for maybe an open discussion with the authorities, that is science. That's real science.
Yeah.
It's not about just saying like, hey, you follow the science or you
Yes.
if you go against it, you are conspiracy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very good point that you pointed out. So actually, because I'm from the science stream, biotechnology, so I come from he's from the statistic point of view. We also study statistics, but I come from the drug manufacturing point of view and the patents. So when we make the vaccine, right, there's many steps, many trials that we need to go through. And in between there's anything, we have to halt the whole process and then we will go back to drawing board. Second thing is, right, I should have done another citation on one of these dengue fever vaccine. This dengue fever was actually researched for almost 6 years to 7 years. But when it was launched, I think mainly in Philippines, because Philippines has a lot of dengue fever, so it has a few side effects, and there's about close to 50 deaths.
Yes.
Straight away, I actually
It was
get pulled out.
withdrawn.
Yeah. So these are the stringent process and measure that we have in our biotech.
Yes.
When we manufacture anything, even 6 years, we mentioned it takes 6 years, went through many trials go through the side effect, and then we think that the side effect is okay, is not as high, then actually it's launched. But yet, it's around 50 deaths, then we actually go out. And if you see the statistic and the spike in the death, right, every time there's a booster, the death rate actually spike up.
Yes.
And after that means it's after the booster, then after
It's
a
a red
while,
flag.
it shoot up.
It's
It's
a
a
red
very
flag.
clear red flag. So
Yes.
for me, right, I understand how the vaccine are being researched and how they're going to be manufactured. So once when they launch it, like maybe 8 to 9 months after the pandemic, I have my suspicions. So that's the first red flag. Then I start to see the data, and I want to see. I read through a lot of things are not reviewed. Yeah. So and that's why even throughout the whole pandemic, right, I went to my MP and asked him, because certain vaccine differentiated measure are totally illogical,
Which
totally
MP,
stupid. My MP is a doctor. He's a medical doctor. So I talked to him face to face. I went to see him twice about the vaccine differentiated measure, because I see all these measures are causing a lot of hardship to a lot of business owner. A lot of business owner are folding, especially F&B. So I told him, why all this illogical measure? I said, you are a doctor, you know what I'm talking about. I give you all the scientific journal. We can actually discuss about it. He don't want to discuss. He tell me one thing. I say it live now in the public. He say all these measures are for control. It's not science-based. That is one of the
I want to know who is the.
that's the trigger point that made me want to come in to politics, because I
Yes.
realized Chinese is called 一手遮天.
Yeah.
One hand cover the sky. Maybe now it's two hand cover the sky. Whatever you say, whatever you try to say out, the media suppress. There's no way. And I personally know many people who are vaccine injured. And now why I'm in this, a lot of people say you're stupid. You join politics, you're going to come up with a lot of money, your own money, your own money,
Yes.
your own time, and you have to spend a lot of money. This money, why not you actually treat all of us? I can refer you more client. Take the money. Yes, but if you think through, I am speaking out for this suppression, and a lot of people dying, suddenly dying. And people, my auntie also has some, she's also vaccine injured. Yeah. So I just trying to say that it's just not for politics or want to come out to campaign on all this. Yeah.
We want to prevent the next pandemic to turn around and to have the same playbook, we call it, and ask people to take vaccine that is not tested. We are not against vaccine. We are pro-safe. You must be 100% safe about the vaccine. Right? At least if it's not that safe, you let people know, informed choices. Let people know what are the potential side effects. What are the risks? Can you die or not? If you do not die, will you be physically or medically disabled? They're long term.
So over the years, right? Over the past 2 to 3 years, you also realize something very synchronized. That doctor you somehow they are not allowed to speak out about the vaccine. Like if you are sick or you suffer certain heart issue, you go. Usually, doctor will say, "Oh, what is the changes recently you have? Probably do you drink? Do you sleep late? Where you go?" But they can never say, have you been vaccinated recently? They will not say, because I know a lot of doctors. Yeah, yes.
Okay, so I want to go back to these two terms called conspiracy theory and anti-vaccine. I think on the ground, when people use the term, like especially like we talk to Singaporean, when we say conspiracy, they say conspiracy theory, we call you conspiracy theory, right? They will say like, 哎呀，政府很爱你的，不会杀你的, because that's the whole point, right? You are implying this vaccine is no good. And then why the government still give us? Because vaccine is supposed to be good to help people right? So of course this one we have to watch our words, right? So in your point of view, how would you address maybe people that say this?
Okay. Put it in simple terms. I do not know how much the authority knows or what they do not know. That's number one. Whether it's conspiracy theories, we do not know. We just follow the data. Follow the data means you follow the science. But if we put up excess death is there, 1,291 side effects, adverse events, which some of them are actually fatal, right? Are there? But you still continue to push away. Then I have a big question mark. 好蛇喎. Are you,
so
you're in the right mind to do that,
so
right?
you say you speak to someone that say 政府很爱你们，很爱我们。
Yeah.
This one I'm not sure whether it's fact or it's a belief lah. Because it can be a belief, no? Because he believed the 政府很爱他们。But for me, right, I also I'm aligned with Ming Seng in that it's about the science and the data lah.
Yes.
Yeah.
We don't fall into blind faith. We look at data, right? Then you do a educated judgment.
And perhaps, right,
Right.
in 2021, when the vaccine was first launched, we can say it was launched in good faith.
Yeah.
But subsequently, with more data coming out in 2022, right, and you continue to push for more booster and more booster, I think, and there are people actually questioning, and there's international report side effect. I don't think it is in good faith. You have to make an informed choice, study the trend. Yeah.
That's how I look at it. So I will tell you what is conspiracy theories to me. Okay. For example, people say the depopulation agenda. To me, I will not believe in it so strong unless I see some document or some really funds going in or some people who have a grand plan really leak out. Then seeing is believing. At this moment, when people say depopulation agenda, I would say 听听就好. Right? I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I'm discerning in what the one. If I believe in something, then I will look for data to see whether that one actually true or not. Right. So this type of conspiracy theories, there are a lot. There are a lot. I'm the only one who is pro-safe vaccine, still believe in the mask, universal masking. But these conspiracy theories, they do not believe in the masking. Because I believe that there are certain, it might not be 100%, but at least it will reduce your viral load. And even you kinda infected, you will not be that jialat, huh? You will not have a stronger infection than other people. That's what I believe because it's actually common sense. Right? It's just a mask. Right? There are holes, of course, because you need to breathe. Right? Even if the virus can pass through, but 100% of virus come in, 100 of them, maybe half of them are actually blocked by the mask. Right? And 50% go through. Okay, you infected, but you're infected. Your viral load is actually 50% less. So I see it that way, using common sense. So I still believe in masking.
Okay,
That's
so the next thing I want to talk about is this very pernicious label called anti-vaccine. I feel it's quite a term lah. It's actually quite a smart term as well. Because personally, if I prefer not to eat chocolate on any day because I'm allergic, or maybe I just don't want to eat it, or maybe I eat it once before and I got a stomachache. No one has ever called me anti-chocolate, you know. But apparently for this vaccine thing, I mean, if you read the news and everything, there's two very famous couple that, you know, they're always labeled anti-vaccine, anti-vaccine. So what do you guys think about that? Because I think people also have label lah, you know, like Goh Meng Seng, especially with the cloth mask and everything, that he's anti-vaccine, anti-vaccine. Okay, so maybe once and for all, you all talk about this. Maybe this could be an exploitation of this term, right? And language as well. That is my opinion, right? It could be an exploitation of language in order to shift the narratives in a certain way. So maybe you guys can talk about this.
I think anti-vaxxer, this term, right, has never existed until like during the pandemic. Or maybe it exists, but it's not widely used. So only during this COVID pandemic, people start to use this, and I feel like it is weaponized to just silence people who try to voice out certain things. Just now I mentioned about throughout the years, these few years, people are being silenced. When they try to speak to the authority, ask the doctor, they are all faced with a stone wall. Yeah, and then if you question even more, they say you anti-science, you are anti-vaxxer. So it's just a term to shut you up quickly, and then put you into a category that you are 小狼. Like xiao lang, because like I have taken a few vaccines, and during COVID pandemic, I took one vaccine also, the tetanus vaccine. Yeah, because I was injured while doing some mechanical work, right? Yeah, and there's some rust. So the doctor asked me, so I'm not anti-vaxxer. But my stand is on this COVID vaccine particularly because there's no long-term data. Yeah, and so without long-term data, how does MOH, now I want to ask you, MOH, how do you know there's no long-term safety issue? How do you know? You can say you don't know, but you cannot say there's don't have. You can say I don't know.
Yeah, how can you claim that there's no
Yeah.
long term because you don't even have a long term data?
Yeah. Second, people say, the vaccine very long already lah. Now the issue, why you still want to talk about vaccine? Because actually, right, if I'm not wrong, because last year I still heard about this. People coming in from overseas, they are applying for student pass or whatever pass,
Yes.
they are still forced to take one vaccine. And this is totally against the science. And I feel you are causing more harm. Now with all the data, you are still doing this. And just now you say what? 讨一个公道, means accountability and medical governance. So if you support medical governance, support us, donate to us. Yeah, don't buy a t-shirt also okay. Just donate. Also.
And the worst part is they actually do away the autopsy. If people die suddenly, they do not want to know what happened. This is actually against criminal law, right? Because there are possibility people are being poisoned. May not be a vaccine, no, being poisoned by other people. You die suddenly at home. Why would you have a law that says that, oh, actually, if you die suddenly at home, you don't need a autopsy? So as a Chinese, this is illogical, because my body comes from my parents. Right? 死都要有一个说法. You will not have a closure if you do not know the issue of death when you die suddenly, right?
Are you saying, Ming Seng, are you saying about the change in the Corona Act?
Yeah.
I think 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They
remove, I think, 1 or 2 clause on what kind of death, then there's no need for further investigation.
Yes, it can't be like that. So anyway, but come back to the spirit part, the laboring, the anti-vax. A wise man actually told me this. Right? In politics, truth doesn't matter. It's a narrative. So if the narrative want you to die, want to paint you black, they will use all the labels on you. They are not interested in the truth. Because truth to them is meaningless. They just want to win. They want the narrative to be passed on. So they will use the best laboring and spurring to actually put down their opponents. I've never said we are actually pro-vax. Okay, pro-vax is not so bad, right? But I'm safe-vax. I'm pro-safe-vax, right? Because every life matter in Singapore to me.
Imagine, right, you have close friend that you talked to last week and you met up for dinner and suddenly today they just collapse and die.
Yeah.
How will you feel? Do you face something like that? Or your loved one that yesterday you just talked to them, have dinner, today they pass on. We are speaking up for all these people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So for those who suffered long-term side effect like Charlene Lee, they are not interested in the truth because they cannot find any truth in what caused her disability, the nerves neural problem. They guess like her, because you're imagining things, that's why you have this phobia, you have these shaky legs and all that.
Speaking up for a lot of people that I know one lady, the first vaccine she took, the COVID vaccine, the next, I think the 3rd or 4th day, she has heavy menses. And ongoing for the next 8 months, she has very heavy, very bad menses. Yeah.
I think you guys would. I mean, it would be correct to say that. I think you guys also would speak up for people who actually was affected for the VDS, and not just. I think not just business owners. I think there's a lot of other people who got affected jobs wise.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah. In US, I think they have won a class action suit to get back date salary and to reinstate the federal employees who are unvaxxed and are being discharged. And even those soldiers, they are allowed to go back to the army, and they are backdated pay, just because they refuse the vaccine. you know. But down here, we still allow employers to actually insist on vaccination.
And if I'm not wrong, there's a few skill future facilitator or trainer, right? They actually have this impose must be fully vaxxed. So it's not true that some people say why are you still talking about the vax? It's been over. No, because if we don't talk about this, there's no accountability. The next round, there's another pandemic, the same thing will happen again, and maybe much worse. For me, I'm always pro-choice. If this vaccine has no long-term safety data, you don't force people to take. You let people make their own informed choice whether they want to take or don't take. So I'm not anti-vaccine. You just have to make your own choice.
Okay, lastly, I want to ask you guys, since you guys are not anti-vaccine or not this and not a conspiracy theory, throughout this whole process of the pandemic, I think we Singapore achieved quite a high vaccination rate, and in my experience, I think there wasn't even much noise made over this. Just one or two pebbles and stones and squeaks here and there, and mostly online activism. So it would be safe to say that majority of the doctors didn't say anything. Majority of our lawyers didn't say anything. What do you think? I mean, from your point of view, do you think this is there's a symptom? There's a deeper issue to this. I mean, since we are bringing all of this up, do you think Singapore has gone too far in a certain ways where when it's required to speak up, but nobody speak up. Only Goh Meng Sing speak up because he kena pop ma.
How you want to say this first or I say first?
Okay, I say this
You
first.
say.
I do know that there are lawyers and doctors who are concerned about this vaccine. Some of them even refuse to take the vaccine until the very last minute they take the non-mRNA vaccine, right? Bopian, right? But it's apparent in Singapore culture, our fear is bigger than our conscience. That is the word I'm going to use. Right? And there's actually not a healthy sign for a society. People have to voice out freely without fear of having the repercussion. Some of the doctors actually voice out, and they kind of uh, uh, reprimanded by MOH. Right? Some of them even face their license to practice being taken out. Are you saying that you have all the truth and people cannot voice out when they have concerns? They are the profession. They have the duty to take care of their interests and the welfare of their patients. This is their duty. And you're preventing them from performing their duty. So this is the problem of one party rule. Because no one, exactly no one, not even the opposition MPs in parliament, have voiced out. We are the first to say, hey, the data doesn't look good. It doesn't make sense.
First and only so far, even to
Yes.
this stage. First and only. First and only.
Yes. So, because my conscience is bigger than my fear, even thicker than my skin is thicker than the fear itself, right? So what in Chinese you say 刀枪不入 lah. Whatever you want to talk about me, right? If this is my concern, I will say it out because it is public interest. It's not about me, right?
Okay, so just now he mentioned most of the things. So I personally also agree. Singaporean by and large they are passive aggressive. So passive means even they are angry, they just like they will take video or go online and make noise, but they don't dare to speak out in front. I think it's the culture here, and maybe it's how the way we are being brought up. Most people tend not to speak up. I mean, before this incident and before meeting my MP, by the way, I stay in Tampines. My MP is from Tampines, and he's a doctor. Y'all can make a wild guess who is he lah. He's a medical doctor. Okay, so before I met him, right, I also like most Singaporean. Like I wouldn't want to say, and probably I would want to work with government and say bring out certain things, bring out certain point, so that hopefully they can actually take in our feedback and do something. Then I also personally I wrote into opposition party. I was not in any party, so I also wrote in, suggest to them, tell them, hey, look into that. but no one is speaking up. Yeah. So, and that's why I'm here, lor. No one is speaking up, then I speak, lor. Yeah, it's like that.
Yeah.
If no one is standing up for you and standing up for your neighbor, your good friends, or your friends that have passed away, then you have to stand up. If not, who
Yeah.
will stand up? So that's I think that should be the way, lah. And and just now he mentioned about that's the issue about one party rule. And just now earlier in the live chat, I say it's 一手遮天. Means there's no light. You cover the sky, there's no light. I can do whatever I want.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the issue. But why I say, but we know this for many, many years. This one party rule, we know it. But the trigger point is the COVID pandemic. Made me open the eyes and see how detrimental it can be. Because now lives are lost. It's not just, and you are forcing people to choose between rice bowl. Once you affect people rice bowl, I will actually throw my file and say, this cannot be that way.
Yes.
You're threatening my rice bowl and my family members' livelihood with my life. So which one do I choose? This is terrible. Yeah.
And I will put on the record. I actually turn face means or 翻脸, right, with my JC friends, the chat group, because some of them actually agrees or even clap for the VDS no jab, no job thing. I said that is evil. How can you support an evil rule like this? Right? I have no regrets because this is me. Right? You can debate about what is true, what is not true to me and all that. But if you agree to a system that actually victimize people in such an evil, with such an evil mechanism, right? You should not be my friend. I lost a lot of friends because of this.
Last week we have a dinner with medical community, and we also hear their struggle. There's actually many good doctors around. So we hope that more doctors will actually stand up, come forward, approach us, support us. You can support us from behind. It's okay. But I'm very heartened to know that there is a medical doctors community that are supporting what we are doing. They know and they are voicing out now. But of course, I understand they have other concerns.
Yes.
Yeah, rice bowl issue,
Yes.
license to practice. Yeah.
But rest be assured, there are more and more doctors realizing that the vaccine actually cause more harm. Right? When they do the benefit, the harm, the risk and benefit, I do not know what benefits they use. Right? They might be using the benefits of society, the economy of the country, to value against the risk that individuals are going to get. Maybe that actually makes sense, right? But to an individual system to actually evaluate, I don't think that anyone with a right mind should actually say, oh, it's more safer, beneficial to take the risk, which might even cause death. Right? So I actually very interested to go into Parliament to get this debated again. I'll ask the Minister, when you say the benefits outweigh the risk, what benefits are you talking about? This is what I want to ask.
Maybe it's their financial benefits.
Yeah, because even the young people who hardly die from COVID infection that we know, right? Even the death rate is actually less than 1%. Right? And most of them are actually elderly with a compromised immune system. You are pushing the children to take. So what are the benefits versus you are talking about versus the risk? Which most of the risks are still unknown. Up to now, we start to see some of the risks that are involved. So these are the questions that MPs should ask in Parliament, not to take for granted. Oh, what you say benefits is outweighs the risk, then you take it as face value.
And I think it's not just having opposition in the parliament to ask question, but because right now we have two opposition party in the parliament, but no one is asking this question. So I think effective opposition is important as well. And yeah. So the other thing is people say, if without the vaccine, right, if you are so good, how are you going to walk us out of the pandemic. So, Ming Seng, you want to talk about this? How to walk out of the pandemic if you don't rely on vaccine?
Okay, wait, I want to add in from this point. There are countries and cities that didn't enforce the vaccines, but I think they had vaccines,
Yeah.
the access to vaccines, and surprisingly, they also don't have like lockdowns lah,
Uh,
and also never enforce masks. But of course, I think they have access to masks lah, right? That were open throughout the even the heights lah. And personally, for me, it was very interesting as well because I was traveling at a point where Singapore was fully masked, and I was in Europe, and the only part that I had to wear a mask was on this flight called Italian Air. So I was very, very cute lah. You know, I go to all the European countries, and I didn't even wear a single mask. But during on the Italian Air flight, I had to wear a mask because they enforced. But okay lah, I wasn't infected. But that's anecdotal. But I just want to say the case that there are and this is all documented in studies and everything, that there are what they call it is conflicting evidence right, to really prove a different so-called case so that you can argue against So that's what I just want to say.
Okay, so
okay, I will answer to the mask thing first. I do not believe that you need to put on the mask when you're in the open space where you're not in close contact with anyone. Right? It doesn't make sense. I see people driving alone, they put on mask. I say, why you put on mask for what purpose? You have to use a bit of common sense. People who come out with policies might have common sense also. People walking on the street, why do you need them to wear a mask? In the garden, where you have a spacious more than 5 meters away from each other, or even 3 meters away. When you deal with why you need a mask in a city state like Singapore is because we are highly densely populated. In Europe, you have a lot of space. Right? In other countries, there are a lot of space, but not in Singapore. So most of the time when we go to enclosed place, restaurants, malls, yes, you need a mask. Because you are very near to each other. Then you need to use a mask. This is the purpose of the mask. Right? So when I support the mask, actually only when you are in enclosed, crowded places. That's what I supported. Right? But they go off go to extreme. Right? So
I think the point I was trying to make was that there are the other case studies who didn't have as quote unquote extreme measures like Singapore, who
yes.
sort of, as Derek put, walked out of the pandemic.
Okay.
Yeah, that was
Now
what I was trying to say.
this so-called in hindsight, you know that. But when you are in that situation that you do not even know what is the virus all about, there are higher risk, uncertainties. Of course, now we know lah. Right? The fatality rate is actually 1% to 3% in some places. Right? So we know. Right? So but before you know that whether this virus itself can cause long-term side effect or not. For example, long-term immunocompromised, then you have to be very careful. Right? So this is a judgment call. If I'm a prime minister, I'm a minister in charge, I would say it's a judgment call. We play safe. But when it comes to vaccine, I have to play safe also, right? It's the same thing, right? So if it's not vaccine, then what? You look at the stats. Who are dying? Who are mostly affected? This is one of the things that I've mentioned during many of my live chat. I said if those people who are dying or badly affected by this virus infection are those with pre-existing condition, then they will have to have extra protection. Like the elderly, even when you are young or mid age, you have certain asthma, right? Certain pre-existing condition. You just have to look at the data as it goes. Then you targeted these people. You must advise them to be extra careful. You do not anyhow go and vaccinate everyone and anyone, right? Because we already know that the vaccine doesn't prevent transmission or infection, right? So these are the things. So the other thing that I came out is actually early treatment protocol, which the so-called experts have totally neglected it. Totally neglected it, I am not an expert, but I have to read from somewhere else. What are the things that I can say, I cannot say? I cannot come up with what ivermectin because I'm not a doctor. I cannot prescribe. Cannot say it. I say, okay, this I cannot prescribe. I don't say. But those off-the-shelf one that can help from other people's experience, then you focus on that early treatment protocol. Right? But they just leave people to die. Or fallen you just no treatment, you just stay at home or stay in the quarantine. That is not the right way to do it. No? I cannot imagine any so-called medical professional can actually give that sort of advice. Right? You cannot treat the cure. At least you treat the symptoms, correct?
Okay, so this part I want to interject you a
Yeah.
while. So yeah, correct. Treat the symptoms. So if you remember clearly, right, in 2020, there's no vaccine. So what are the treatment for those COVID patients? I think one of it is steroid. The steroid they actually open up a pathway because for virus, right, your body has to develop the immune to defeat the virus. Some people they just fall sick and then they keep resting. They have fever, but there's no issue because they have no asthma or whatever. There's no pre-existing condition, so they don't go down. They don't get worse, so they can breathe properly. Meanwhile, the body actually develop and stage up a strong immune to fight back the virus. Some people naturally they have some pre-existing condition. Probably their lungs all this get narrowed, and that's why intervention like oxygen
Yeah.
and the steroid actually open up a pathway, make sure that they don't they continue to breathe well. Yeah, but after a few days or 1 week, right, they actually stage the immune system to actually defeat. So the other thing is just now the back to the question, how to walk out of the pandemic. I think Sweden they have vaccine, but they didn't enforce
Yes.
as strictly. Second thing is after 1 year of pandemic, right, one way we can do if I'm the minister is to do the testing. Because I understand once you had the virus before or you get infected before, you have certain immune against this thing.
Yes.
It may not be very long lasting, but you already have developed natural immune. And it is a very robust immune. Yeah, so this part, right, if you start, let's say the community, a lot of people had this immune response through the testing, then actually no need for vaccine already,
Yeah.
because probably most people had already. And
Yeah.
then we can save a lot of money for the country. And that's how we work. Because 1 year we are having all this, the mask, but some people probably have some symptom, flu-like symptom. The time I realized, okay, this is my anecdotal experience, my story. Why I think maybe the COVID is not as serious as what the media make it out to be initially in 2020. Because when we reopened the border, I think it's 2022. 2022, mid-year, I went for travel already. I went traveling a lot of places. So I traveled to Vietnam. Vietnam, right, is very special. I went over, I was in my shock of my life. Because of the media and the way we handle the pandemic, we must wear masks, all this. When I went to the airport in Ho Chi Minh, I went to Da Nang. From Ho Chi Minh, I went to Da Nang. Then I realized the transit launch, right, there's so many people, no? There's no vaccine, the VDS, the keep social distancing. Everyone sit very close, no? Sit like on the floor. It's so crowded. Everyone want to go travel.
They got wear mask.
Yeah, and they didn't wear mask. I was so scared, no? I was like so shocked. Then I wear mask. Then I say die. Wow, first day, I see so many people like that and so crowded. Then some people from far they are sneezing, coughing. I say, and then this is enclosed because of the way we receive the info from our media. I say, die tonight sure sick one. Tomorrow sure sick one. Then actually I went to Da Nang, nothing happened. Whole day nothing, no? Then come back also like that. So I say, actually, I don't think they are very good. I think they also have wave of COVID in Vietnam as well. But how come there's nothing leh?
Yeah. There's a herd immunity.
Yeah, nothing leh.
Yeah.
If it's so crowded, right, it's like really crowded. People are sitting on the floor, like people are sitting side by side all days, right? I was sitting and waiting for the plane, right? I was so scared, no, at first. But when I went to Da Nang and went around, then first night no sick, second night also nothing happened. And they don't have social distancing. So I say, wow, is it correct or not? How come maybe different people may? Then recent years, right, like this 2023, 2024 last year, I went back and saw Dr. Bhakdi video again. That's why today I share. Because science is what? Evidence. Science is not belief, no. Science is something that it is absolute. Sometimes like this thing, this will happen. So he actually predicted that lymphocyte will be compromised by the vaccine, and that's why he also predicted way back that there will be a spike in all these things. And true enough, he knows his science well and he got it right. And that's why we are seeing a spike in the shingles.
Yeah.
This is science because he understands the science very well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we make the problem worse and try to get solution for the worst problem that we have created on our own. That is actually, but of course, politicians will not tell you that lah. Right? They will always say, "Oh, we are foresighted. Now we are very good. We let you use MediSave to pay for the vaccine for shingles, or we subsidize it as a national." When did we need that at all in our life? For 50 years in my life, I never heard about shingles need that type of national-wide vaccination program.
Okay, so I think we are coming to the end. It's
Yeah.
nearly 1 hour already.
Yeah.
So if you like today topic, and then feel free to comment. I hope most of you will actually if you are vaccine injured or this, please step up message to us. We'd like to know more from you. And we have a few key points. We are not anti-vaxxer. We are not conspiracy theorists. I actually bust the myth
Yeah.
about there's no long-term side effect. I think the proper way to say is I don't know whether there's long-term side effect because they don't know. And then I show you the video on the Dr. Bhakdi, and then I revisited the PPP, our PPP second press release last year. You can go to our Facebook and read through. Actually, we spent a lot of time going through the data, finding the citation, and then lastly, we actually show the video on RFK. Yeah. So once again, I want to hope if you like support PPP and what we are talking about, I hope you can support us, make Singapore our home again. Yeah, I'll sell the t-shirt again. One for 40. You tell us what size you want, how many pieces you want, which design. So this is make Singapore home again.
And this one?
Time to change.
Time to change.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, I just want to say this. I start to have people who used to be skeptical about me instead of the vaccine. They comes to me and say, Mason, I think you are right so far. Because the people around me, my friends, my family members, start to have funny things happening to them after the vaccination. And, I told them, help me to get into parliament because this will not be the first pandemic that we are going to face. It will not be the last. Right? There will be other pandemic. And rest assured, I'm not anti-vaxxer. Right? I will question the expert or the government when they want to make drastic decision like that. Where are your data? How do you classify benefits and the risks? What are the risks? Do you know the risks? And exactly what the Americans are doing, they ask for all the documentation that Pfizer have given, which they refuse to give. Right? I would do that. And why? Because this life at stake. And if you are in Tampines, please vote for us. Right? If we are not in Tampines, support us, support him. People like him who have come to a stage that say we cannot just sit there and do nothing. We have to step up because nobody is going to defend us ourselves, only us alone. You know, a lot of people are very afraid to step forward, but there are people who are willing to support them. Right.
Okay, I want to end off with this phrase, and I think most of you know this. Why it's important to support us? Because it's your life and my life. It's not a game of cards. This one is
Yeah, EKY.
Yeah, and this is true because this vaccine thing is really concerned about your life and my life. We cannot play,
Yes.
masa, and
Yes.
it's not a game of card. Yeah,
Yeah.
someone have to be accountable for this.
And for every policies that we see in the past have gone wrong, for example, two is enough policies. There was no opposition in parliament. There was no alternative narratives to say that you might be wrong. It might have a long-term impact on the whole nation. When they decided to fill up our population with enormous migrants, foreign migrants, nobody was there to give a counter narrative to say why we should not go that type of road. No? Nobody actually questioned it. When people come out with HDB and asset enhancement, nobody was in parliament to say that no, that will have long-term impact on our next generation and our future generation. Because Goh Ming Sing is not in parliament. All this, I can tell you, the very first one we raised, even Sika. Nobody actually bothers to read what are being signed. And definitely no one actually questioned it in parliament. Until 2011, I brought it up. Why are we signing this free trade agreement? So you need people, not just a representative, not just a PR guy who kiss babies and shake hands and laugh at you, laugh with you and all that. You need people who are effective, forward-looking, visionary, will know exactly what will happen if such policies are not put in check, so that our future generation will not suffer. So please support us. And Derek also. Thank you for Derek.
Thank you for joining us.
Right.
Thank you. Good night.
Good night.
Have a happy Valentine's Day tomorrow.
Yes.